Hello and welcome back to the Remembering Tuscola webcast. I'm David Porteer. I'm here with Bill Englehardt, who's always ready, and Mike Carroll. He just told me he's always ready, born ready.
Engelhardt said
Mike,
that. I didn't say it.
no, Mike was not born ready. In fact,
I'm still trying to get ready.
Mike will be late to his own funeral.
I hope so. I hope about 10 years late.
Well, I didn't know how you would introduce us this week because I was a little bit concerned about we might be labeled old codgers.
Old
Why?
codgers.
Why?
Because that's David's piece in the paper this week.
Oh, well, other than that, why?
Well, other than that, yeah. He talked to old codger. He talks to two old codgers every week.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good with old people.
I got a note on that from a reader. Why don't you find something positive to say about him instead of calling him an old codger? It's like you don't. No one knows this guy. I want the reader to think of him
As an
as an old codger.
Yeah,
Old
but
codger.
they were thinking of Bill, though.
Yeah, and it's like
They said, why beat on Bill?
at this point he's just a character in the story.
You know, there was a great story one time when we first did the golf course. We put we were selling lots. The city tried to do the golf course itself to sell lots. And after the auction, a bunch of people didn't buy lots that we thought would buy lots, very wealthy people. So the mayor, Danny, let loose with a general thing. He said, I can't believe how ignorant some of the people in town are. This town's been good to them. What's wrong with them, you know? And he really blasted unknown people. So we had a meeting about a next couple of weeks. We had a city council meeting at the community building when we used to meet there. Ace Gilmore and I were outside. Here comes this guy from Tuscola. I won't give his name, but he was not the guy Danny was talking about. He was just an ordinary guy in town, and he was hot. And we said, what are you doing here, Jim? He said, by God, what the mayor said about me. I said, what the mayor say about you? Called me an idiot, called me. I said, well, he wasn't talking. He said, he didn't name any names. Everybody knows who he's talking about. I said, well, I wouldn't go inside, let the whole world know you're the idiot. I'd be quiet about it, you know, even if you are the guy. But anyway, he made all kinds of people mad. Then I got a call from good old Jim Higgins, my partner, called me and said, buy me about 5 lots. And I said, Jim, what are you doing buying 5 lots? Because what the mayor said about me. I said, the mayor wasn't talking about you. He's talking about a couple zillionaires in town that could have easily bought a couple lots. So anyway, all kinds of people thought he was talking about them. So that's what you got, David, when you talk about the old codger. See,
Old codger.
Well,
Be careful what you say.
you're like Studs Terkel. You're like Studs Terkel, who talked about Slats and
Oh.
Slats Gubnik and all these people. Everybody thought he was talking
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah.
yeah, well, when you have a character in a story, you want to set up for the reader how you want that reader to think about that character,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do it expeditiously.
Yeah.
So
My trick name is I just say Ingo.
Yeah. When in doubt.
When in doubt, I just talk about Ingo, and nobody knows who that is.
I just
Or Bull. I said Bull. Bull Ingo.
So I just used old codger. I didn't call you out by name, Mike.
Yeah, that was nice of you, David.
Hey, I'm not going to argue with anybody that calls me an old codger.
No,
I accept it.
we have to. We have no choice.
It is what it is.
It's a coming.
And ain't nothing we can do about it.
That's right.
I don't it just drives me nuts though. It's like I saw a comment yesterday online, local person. This economy is the worst this country has ever seen. I mean,
What is he, 3 years old?
have you heard of the Great Depression?
You know, people just they don't get it. Everybody's yelling. Here's the deal, and I'm not even a liberal Democrat. I'm not a Democrat, but
Right.
they were talking about everybody's going panicky on the stock market at $40,000. they came out and said unemployment's risen to 4.3. 4.3 is great. We saw 8, 9, 12.
Oh,
Four,
much more.
4.3 is not bad.
Not-
And they talk about the interest rate. The interest rate is, what is
Oh,
it,
God.
5% is
Oh,
the,
gee.
and I bought a house in 1981 out at North Prairie Acres. I got a 3-year variable loan, 9% interest, which was average back then.
Yeah.
Back pretty good.
It was pretty good, 9%. And
After 3 years, it probably went to 12.
it went to 16% under Volcker with Jimmy Carter. 16%. I was a lawyer at the time, and I had car dealers. Red Profit's floor plan loan was 19% at TNB, 18.5, 19%. People have no concept.
No idea.
The interest rate, honest to God, is not bad. The
No,
unemployment
it's
is pretty good.
They used to say never assume anything but a 6% mortgage. And it's
Well,
under.
I always said, if you get something under 8, grab it.
So to be fair, when you got that loan at 9%, who was president?
Well, I don't know. If
Probably
Carter-
Ronald Reagan.
79. Yeah, 8, 9% was a good rate.
No,
wasn't it?
Carter was elected in 76. Yeah, Reagan was elected in 80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Volcker's the one that dried out the economy, so it must have been about 80 or 81.
Here's my
Volcker ended inflation. Inflation was horrible back then.
here's my answer to the present day problems. Number one, turn off the TV.
Mhm.
Number two,
Not the
start-
podcast. Not the podcast.
not the podcast. Number two, start reading something that is, has meaning and is real. They're real facts. You want to read newspapers, you want to read magazines and or journals that are trustworthy, I would say. The Atlantic, the New Yorker, Wall Street Journal.
Atlantic and New York are two pretty liberal ones, but I just kidding. I read both. I read Wall Street Journal
you need to read.
and
People need to
and I subscribe to the digital New York Times, and I read the two editorials. And I'm 90% of the time I like the Wall Street Journal better, but New York Times has some good pieces in it. I got to admit, I take the New Yorker magazine, I take National Review, I take
Right.
Left and Right, and you can develop
Right.
and know your history. Know
Well,
your
Sure.
history.
Know your history.
Like I say in the story, turn off the TV and look out the window. If you want to
Yeah.
know how things are going, it's you mentioned the stock market had a little dip, and I got a lengthy note from my stockbroker. And first of all, when a guy like me has a stockbroker, things are doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Things are going
They
pretty
say that
good.
they say that nothing good happens after midnight, for instance, if
Yeah.
you're out fooling around. Well, by the way, if you just turn off your television and all those different stations after 8 o'clock, you'd be better off. That's the time when they really start hitting.
Well, the note I got said basically this is a correction. The stock market does it all the time. It needed to happen. Don't panic. We're not concerned about it. We don't think it's a sign of anything bad. And
That's good advice, but nobody knows if we're in a recession or not. But the point is, it got to 40,000. I mean, I invested in the stock market. It was $2,000 and $3,000 back in college.
Mhm.
$4,000. I mean, you want to bet on America. If you look around the world where to put your money, I'd still bet on America. I would not bet against America. Still the best economy, as long as they don't screw it up too bad. And by they, I'll leave that up to you to assume who I'm talking about, David.
by they,
Yeah, they are the people that screw the economy up.
Old codgers.
Old codgers do it mostly, especially guys named Ingo.
well, it's,
Ready now, David.
We're primed.
I just think sometimes I must be living in a different America than some people.
Oh, you do. You
'Cause
are.
I look at the facts of the matter, which is unemployment is low, crime
Yeah.
is actually down, stock market is high, interest rates are reasonable. They're low enough you can buy a house, yet they're high enough you can make a little money little return on your investment. And
Well,
it's
actually,
like,
actually murder's down from last year, but violent crime is up.
You know what? I'm sitting here looking at a guy smoking a big cigar, sitting in a big chair
And he used to be a
in
poor,
his home.
used to be a poor kid that ran away from home because no one wanted him.
That's right. He ran down to the neighbors and said, "Take me.
Take me.
Look, if I think he's got it made."
And if it wasn't for,
He's got that wonderful wife out there. She's somewhere. She might be working today. Who knows?
yeah, I think she's working. She's
and if
not,
it wasn't for Gordon Phyllis Adams, he would have been homeless.
Well, probably.
that's right.
Good.
No,
family.
I think, you know, you talk, and people talk about how bad it is, they get nervous. And, you know, I think of my parents growing up during the Depression. My mom was on a farm, they lost their farm. They walked to Tuscola, mother and dad and 10 kids. They walked down the Bourbon Road and then down Route 36 to Tuscola, where he picked up another farm out there where Steve Wetzel used to live. And, you know, and then my granddad Avery, they had 10 kids in this little bitty house south of Bourbon. And my granddad's brother lost his farm, has 8 kids, and they moved in with him. So there were 18 kids and 4 adults.
I will
Yeah,
say that.
but the economy is
and-
way better, right?
Well, and my mom, and they gave up their beds to the other 8 kids, and they got to eat first. And my mom bitched about why should they get the beds eat first? They're lucky to be. My grandma whipped her for complaining. Says you're lucky because we haven't lost our farm. Yeah, people have no concept. I don't have a concept. I can't even imagine that.
I will
No.
say this about your ancestry. We know what they were doing after midnight.
Sleeping.
They were on Zoom.
My God,
They were on
they got
social media.
10 kids, 8 kids. Gee, man.
Well,
My bitch, besides all this, is information. It seems like everybody's addicted, or most people are addicted. Many people are addicted to social media, especially stuff like TikTok, which is just entertaining. It makes you laugh, it makes you funny, you see stuff, but
Becky, are we better off? than we
nothing in
were?
depth.
Yeah, I think so.
nothing in depth, and people love negative information.
Well, they seem
Misery
to
loves
buy it.
company. We like to complain.
And
What
you and I have talked
complain-
about this, David. You know, when I read the New Yorker, I read the Wall Street Journal, they have in-depth, multi-page, 20,000 word articles about something they've studied for months, researched,
Mhm.
you know, about the election in Argentina or the economy in Peru. And I was told the death of newspapers. What scares me, David, is who's going to do the in-depth reporting and where does it get published? Nobody's going to pull up their computer and read a 20,000 page article on their
20,000 words.
20,000 word article on their iPhone, are they? Who's going to do the in-depth
Well, I mean,
dive?
some will. I mean, I have recently read documents online that were hundreds of pages long.
That's you.
Yeah.
That's not
And
everyone.
you got Legos behind you, so you got
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lego people would do that.
Mhm.
Ingo would never do it.
No, he would.
Well, David, we've given our
Well,
lecture today, don't you think?
He might do it.
But I
well,
agree.
Well, just,
I agree. David, I'm going to concede historically, the economy is not that bad.
it is not, and you know, one of the comments I made is I spend more money on cigars in a year than my grandparents had when they died. So we're doing all right.
It is true, though, that as the stock market boomed from 20,000 to 40,000, rates were at 0, so you could make some money. The rich did get richer and the poor struggled. So there's still a real systemic problem in America with people that, I remember Richard Nixon back in the 70s when the economy was in trouble, and he came on TV and said, I don't know what everybody's bitching about. It's a great time to buy into the stock market. And someone says, yeah, but who's got any money to buy into the stock
Right.
market? So some people aren't in the stock market. They can't participate in it. Some people just don't have the money to invest in a
Right, and that's
CD.
the way
This
I used
is the real problem with poverty.
that's what I used to feel when the stock market would take a hit, you know, 15, 20, 30 years ago. I'd be like, didn't impact me. I don't have any money in the stock
Yeah.
market.
Now everybody's in it.
Yeah.
I got to tell you a story about my wealthy friend Ingo.
I was just hoping you'd buy me lunch today, maybe.
I did.
Speaking about poor people.
Back in 1972 or 3, when I was going to law school one summer, he and I decided to play golf every day. What was that? I came back from the Army, wasn't I?
Yeah, just back.
72, 73, 74. And he
Yeah.
was going down to Eastern to get his master's degree.
Actually,
and
just starting over.
Just starting over. And our wives agreed to let us play golf one summer all together. So all summer long, I drove, and I often bought Bill's milk because I felt sorry for him having a little baby boy.
Well, I hadn't had the baby yet.
Well, you were going to have baby, and
Eventually.
and we knew it was coming. And we felt sorry. Bill lived in a house about the size of this table here. And I felt sorry for him. I bought his lunch all summer long, occasionally paid for his golf. And at the end of the year, Bill said, "Hey, I got a legal question, kind of a finance." I said, "What's that?" He says, "I have 2 CDs rolling over. What do I do with them?" I said, "You have CDs?" I said, I've never even seen a CD. You have 2 CDs? You didn't say a word about that when I was buying your lunch. So a guy named Ingo is tight. And that's how he got to be wealthy. He got idiots like me to buy his lunch. I felt sorry for him.
My wife is a saver. So
That helps.
she
I save everything I buy. You okay, Beck?
Lights are on.
Beck's got a bad back.
We've got to save the electric bill here. We're ready, David.
You okay, honey? You want Bill to give you a little massage?
my first wife, you give her a nickel, she'd spend it 5 different ways.
Yeah.
My wife now, you give her a nickel, she'll squeeze it till it turns into a quarter, flattens out.
Well, my mother was that poor Irish, shanty Irish gal. When she got $1, you're right, they went out and spent it. Money, they just went crazy when they got $1. And I inherited a lot of that. Why are you laughing, Beck? You can't take it with you. Oh boy, this is
there we are.
oh, there we go. There we go. That looks on the left like, is that Paul McCollum right there? What year is this? Is this the 58?
That's
group?
Kenny Campus.
That is. What is this, 65?
Could be. We've got some pictures from 58 and some from 65.
Okay. Kenny Campus. That looks like Paul McCollum, but I don't know.
Well, we got a bunch
Talking
of
about the
names
boy in
here.
the sweater.
Right.
Yeah, the big guy.
Yeah.
It does kind of look like him, but that kid in that apron looks like Kenny Campus.
Yeah. This
And I should know that woman. Is that Mrs. Gailey or who
I
is
don't
that?
think so.
It's not Mrs. Isles, is it? In the middle?
No.
No.
Huh. Any names, David?
Any names?
Marcy says left facing camera, Kenny Kappas, Marlene Phillips, Mike, Uncle Charlie Hausman, Norma Kleiss, Aunt Ruth Ann Hausman, and Leanne Hausman Fitzgerald at Community Building.
Why do you have Bill and I on?
Marcy needs to come on.
How about Marcy?
Marcy and who else gets everybody? Oi?
Kevin Connor.
Kevin Connor.
Gets a
Gotta
lot
get
of
Kevin
people.
and Marcy on here. Bill and I could go out and die like old men. Put us out to pasture.
Old codgers.
Old codgers.
Old
Okay, give
Codgers.
Another one. We got everybody there except for 2.
Well, Marcy's related to a bunch of these, so
Oh, you're right. All the Bill's people are down at Golconda.
Wow.
That was this looks like
That's on the corner.
we've got a similar
good-
pose coming up later,
Good
but
picture of, that's a real good picture of the old Fullerton elevator.
yeah, it's a
burned down.
good. Now, what year did that burn?
What year?
Yeah,
78.
Yeah, we sat over there on the corner, remember? In the car and watched.
Late 70s, early 80s, early 80s.
Late 70s, seems like.
I don't remember that elevator.
Yeah,
Well, it's been a long time ago.
yeah.
That now my grandpa had a car that looked like that in the
It's a
back.
It's a Chevrolet, about a
50
59.
59 Chevy.
Yeah.
Just they started out with Sputnik wings and they started laying them down flat.
So you can see the water tower in the background. Is this,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the old water. That's the
This is North Central.
looking east.
I'm gonna say, which
Yep.
bank is that? Is that,
That's the old First National. It's where the vault is.
Mhm.
Where the vault is.
so things have changed since this picture was taken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bill and I've gotten old.
Old
They,
company. There
they
you
took
go.
the parking meters out.
Well, they went through a thing of Paul Newman cut all those off one weekend. We sent him to prison. Anyway, they would
Cool
put,
hand Luke.
they would bitch about merchants during the 60s and 70s. They went through a period where merchants would bitch about people parking. So they put parking meters up, and then they bitched about nobody came downtown because the parking meters cost too much money. Then they took them out, then they put them back. The merchants never seemed to be happy with either free parking. But look at the crowd across the road from
Mm-hmm.
the old pharmacy.
Yeah.
Look at all those cars down that road, both sides. That's unusual.
Okay.
Well, these guys are taking up these parking spaces, so they had to park down there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's gonna be hard.
I don't have any names on this one. Looks like maybe Eastern Star.
Mhm.
Kinda. We
Probably.
should know them.
She looks familiar, but I
Mhm.
don't know. Gal in black in the back row looks familiar.
I got these posted a little earlier this week, but I don't have names on a lot
No
of
names on them. Yeah.
Well, this is
Masons.
Just Lodge.
this was a senior class play in 48.
Yeah.
Guys looked a lot older back then.
You have any names here? Because
No, I got a bunch of these that don't have names.
Wow. Weren't you in DeMolay?
no.
Skinner was.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder if you'd channel him back to tell us who these people are.
These people don't look familiar.
Let's get one of them here.
Well, I would hope.
Well, the
Gordy.
building does. I mean, it's
That's not Gordy.
No.
CW.
It's not. These are out of towners.
I think it's a Hugo
I would too.
could be.
or Camargo.
I think I recognize one in this picture.
Well, yell it out.
Is that
George
Jerry?
Washington up there at the top.
Well, that's his cousin Larry.
I don't know. I think that's George.
These folks are all out of town. I'm telling you. Although that may be Melody there. I don't know.
Melody.
Jerry Melody.
Well, could be. I'm sticking with Hugo.
You might be right. It's Hugo. I recognize the piano.
Is that Doris? That's not Doris White on the left, no.
No.
Oh boy, we gotta recognize somebody. Is
Well, you
Alzheimer's?
guys were pretty young when these pictures were taken.
No, we should know these guys.
Yeah.
This is 58.
When we were that age, we knew everyone in town. That's when you rode uptown on Saturday afternoon on
Yeah.
your bike and
Sure.
went to Gus's, went to Nick's,
Went to the Strand.
tried to sneak in the pool hall, but you were a little too young.
There we go. And now we're back in 65. Is that Wendy Warren in the middle?
That's Wendy Warren, 67 on his letter jacket.
Wendy Warren in the
Want.
middle. Now we're back in 65.
Looks like Bissy, doesn't it? A little
No, I can't tell if it's a Hausman or Bissy.
bit. You should have some names.
Well, Danny Matthews says Mark Sipe in the center. Letter
Mark.
jacket.
No, see the letter jacket, it says 67. That's Wendy Warren.
Sipe would have been 69, 68.
He was a freshman when he would have been a sophomore when Wendy was a senior. Yeah, he was.
He
No.
said Mark Sipe, center class of 67.
Mark Sipe at that time was about
6'5".
6'5", 6'6",
Okay.
and yet to grow to his full height.
We got 75 cents on Wendy Warren. Now,
Okay,
this guy, we know
You
this guy here
and
too.
we do, but I can't tell you who it
Not
is.
Roach, isn't it? That's not Roach. Who is it?
No.
Huh.
Wendy's a great guy. I think he
Yeah.
lives in California now. I don't know.
H. Ray Warren.
Mhm.
There's Mr.
Oh
Thompson.
my gosh, got a
Got a
penny.
penny. Got a penny. And Marge.
Mrs. Marge Thompson.
Second from right is Marge, and third is Thompson. They ran the Tasty Freeze where Monocle's used to be.
You know what? I think that's Junior Ingram.
Hmm.
In fact, I'm pretty sure it is. Any names?
well, ones you had, and then Alan Michener says fifth and sixth from right, Dorothy and Wayne Vandeventer.
Vandeventer, she worked as secretary at the lumber yard. And that is Junior Ingram.
Tommy, the Tasty Freeze was really quite a spot in the 60s. Tommy was famous for, they had great ice cream. They had a great chili dog. Tommy's famous for you go up to pay. He said, "You got a penny?" Was that the sales tax then, 1 cent?
I don't know, but he drove you nuts with it.
Yeah, he ought to just kept a can of pennies there, but
Mhm.
he wouldn't give you the ice cream till he gave him the penny.
That's the truth. Some little kid go home crying because he didn't have the penny.
They had a daughter. What was her name? I forget.
I do too.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Could be hard to name everybody, but we can try.
Well, we can
Tom
blow 'em up a little
Boers.
bit.
Go back out.
Right.
Yeah, go make it. There you go. Tom Van in the third row, over to the left, bald headed. Is Tommy Van Voris
I think
right
that's,
there?
I think I found Joyce Ellis over here.
Right
That
there.
looks like Joyce Ellis.
Right there in the middle.
Yeah. This is a little bit tough.
Well, we almost got all of them.
Well, they're saying online that over to the right in the apron is Sonny Kleiss.
No,
Doesn't look like him, but maybe it is.
no.
Doesn't look like it to me either, but let's see. Christy Townsend says that is Uncle Sonny.
Well, if his family says it,
In the white apron?
I
doesn't
don't
look like
see anyone else in an apron. It says in an apron. I'm not
zoom in on
seeing-
him.
My goodness gracious.
He had more
Not
hair later
seeing-
on.
I'm not seeing anyone else in an apron. And they said to the right, that's to the right. And
I can't go with that.
Glenn Taylor says, Bob Taylor says Glenn Thompson standing middle in the picture going to seat his wife Margaret is ahead of him beginning to sit down. Owners of the Tasty Freeze.
Was that the previous picture?
Well, he's got
That's
a
the pre-
comment
that's the
on this
previous-
one.
That's the
picture.
previous picture.
Standing in the middle.
Go back to the
Go
previous
back
picture.
that last picture.
There's Tommy.
Now you're saying Sonny, well, no,
Who'd he say? Marge?
Sonny Kleiss.
Um,
No, Bob Taylor
Yeah,
said,
they were
right?
saying Marge Thompson and Mr. Thompson. Yeah, that, I got that.
What was his first name? Tom?
I don't know. You know, he graduated from Tuscola.
I've got his yearbook in there. So,
Okay,
Now let's move on.
Yeah.
Don't want to get in a fist fight over anybody.
I'm trying to figure out who they're talking about here.
There's
Well, there's
Tommy.
Mr.
Now
Thompson.
there's Tommy. Now Glenn Thompson
Glenn Thompson.
and his wife Marge. You can
Yeah.
sit down. See him in the middle. They're
Okay.
now-
Oh,
now-
now
You know
there's
what?
Sonny twice.
Over
You
the
know what?
right.
I was looking at the wrong picture on the comment.
Oh, let's get it straight.
I was looking at this picture and you guys were looking at,
No, we weren't. We were
you
looking at,
guys were looking at this picture and I was looking at this one.
Oh, well, thanks. That really helped us.
Yeah.
yeah, there's Sunny over to the right.
Made us look bad.
That's Sonny on the right over there.
Yeah, we see him.
Yeah.
That's Sonny.
Well, I was just testing you guys, making sure you're,
Yeah,
Well,
show,
you did a
show us
good
one
job.
picture and guess another.
Yeah, it's tough to do.
Make Bob Taylor look good,
well, these two pictures look similar.
except they're different.
Mhm. I think that's by definition looks similar.
But they're much different.
What do you suppose
These
this
are
gala
different.
occasion is, Mike?
I don't know. They got the crepe paper. Do you see this anymore? This was great decorating. You take that crepe paper and you tape it to one side and then you twist it.
Well, it's an art. It's an old art form.
I always thought that was kind of fun. You twist that crepe paper and it,
No,
You
young
make
kids,
little-
young kids today just can't do that.
then you tape the other end. It's
So
cheap.
you played with twisty paper and Legos.
You know, this could be because the Catholic Church have done it down there before they did it at their church, their Thursday, their famous turkey dinner. Because if Sonny's working the crowd, who else? Go back on this young kid back in the middle. Let's see who that is. Let's see if that's a
Young kid back in the middle. That helps me.
Go left, the other way, over the side. There you go. Is that a? Who's that?
I can't tell who the kid is.
Ruby Mata? That Ruby Mata?
Kind of puts you in mind of her.
Looks like Ruby Mata right there.
It does look like Ruby.
And there's Roy Toomey. Is that Roy Toomey back there?
I don't know.
Well, if we had enough time, we'd get all, there's Kalmar.
There's Rudy Kalmar.
Rudy Kalmar. If you had enough time, we'd get everybody.
Yeah, it just takes us a little time. Well, there's John. Is that John Bozarth? Almost
Looks like John
him.
Bozer. Ferd McNee.
Okay.
Okay, get us something a little harder.
Something harder.
Yeah, this stuff's too easy.
It's the same event.
Orville Fry with his three boys.
Oh, Fry.
With his three boys. And there's Mrs. Ellen Fry in front of him.
Mhm.
There's the three
Yeah,
Fry boys. Boy, this is,
this is an old picture. And you say this is 65?
Could be. See,
what was Jerry?
I would guess 65. It's either 65 or 58. Those are the two envelopes. So I think this is 65.
Look at those hats up there on that rack.
Mm-hmm.
Marcy Shoemaker says the far right is Connerty family.
John Connerty.
Yeah, that does look like him. Little blurry here.
So Chris Connerty was in my class, but he would be too young to be in this picture.
Is that a Ron right there? Merle Ron?
Look at here. That's
Oh,
Larry
Larry
Bean
Bean.
and Bill Bean, his dad.
Larry on the right. That's Larry's junior year in high school.
And that's Ron Bean sitting there.
I think it is. I think it is. This Merle Ron.
You know what this is? You know what I was going to say this is? This is a Democratic rally.
Well, Tom Van Boris was at it though.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, Tom got along with everyone.
Okay, Travis Ron says Merle Norman Ron on left. My dad,
Right.
my dad Kevin Ron in Merle's hands, and my uncle Bruce Ron standing next to Grandpa.
Yeah, Merle and Norma. Great picture of Larry Bean. That gives you an idea what the junior class looked like. They had long hair, kind of rough looking.
Yeah, Shauna Shauna Bean Bosch says, Gary Brewer with his dad, William R. Bean sitting at the table in front of them. So
Yeah, that's Ron
the
sitting
guy.
down.
Yeah,
It's Gary Bean, not Brewer.
yeah, it's certainly not Gary Brewer. Gary Brewer, did he,
She
Gary
may have
Brewer?
been, yeah, she may have been telling Gary Brewer, yeah, she's,
Oh, yeah, telling Gary Brewer.
yeah, he said Larry Bean standing third from right. And then
Yeah.
she says, with his dad, William, yeah.
Mm.
All
Yeah,
three of those Bean boys they were all pipe fitters.
Yeah, they all worked out of 149 out of Champaign and worked at the university.
All tough football players. All of them were linemen except Dick Bean, Richard Bean. They need the fullback, so they put him at
I
fullback.
think they did.
Yeah. I played against Dick my freshman year. I had him. He ran me over a couple of times. I've still got cleat marks.
trying to get through all the comments, a lot of comments on that picture.
That's Fred
That's
Fair.
Mrs. Reinhardt there.
That's Fred Fair.
That is Fred Fair.
The guy on the left over the shoulder of that one woman is Freddie Fair.
The short woman behind the table,
It's
I
Polig.
think, is Mrs. Reinhardt.
It's not Polig.
No, I believe it's Rick Reinhardt's mother.
Well, Marcy
Oh,
says,
this is Mrs. Holmes,
That's
Chuck Holmes's mother.
Chuck Holmes' mother.
The taller lady there in the white behind the table.
Fred Fair was in Bill's class.
Yep.
His granddad lived down by the old North Ward and had a fish tank with piranhas in it. Remember where they lived?
Right on the corner.
Across from Ruby's.
Uh,
Bruce Rogers lived there after Ruby's.
yeah, and Chip lives on that corner now.
Yeah.
Marcy says, women at table, left to right, Martha Mason, Irene Reinhardt, Pauline Oakes, Neoma Hackett, and Mrs. Holmes, question mark.
Oh my goodness, yes, that is
Oh, that's-
Naomi Hackett.
That is Harold Hackett's wife.
Yeah, and Pauline Oakes in the back. My goodness.
And Toppy Moody says she thinks maybe a lady on the end is Mrs. Warders.
Naomi Warders, possibly. Can't really tell.
No.
Now, do you know who's in front? The boy in
Well,
front.
The boy,
He would have had
I've been wanting to try to figure it out.
8th grader freshman, graduated about 7. Give us his initials, we'll get him.
According to Janice Moody, AK would be the initials.
Andy Kleiss.
Mm,
Andy Kleiss.
goodness.
There's Ron
Oh,
Bean's.
I'll be darned.
There's Ron Bean's late wife, Judy.
And that's her parents in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Mr. and Mrs. Bean. What a wonderful picture.
Judy, what was Judy's maiden name? Bloom?
No, hang on.
Judy.
Was it Stevenson? I know, Jimmy. Started with a W. I've forgotten. Mrs. Bean lived to be 100
Yeah.
plus.
Judy was a beautiful gal.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean must have been a tough hombre because his boys were all tough hombres.
Well, I don't think they back talked him.
No, you don't back talk an iron worker, do you?
No, he was
Did you ever back talk an iron worker?
once. Once.
Did he take a swing at you?
Yeah. Make that twice. Yeah.
Don't mess with an iron worker. That's kind of one of our rules of thumb.
Pipe fitter.
Pipe
No,
fitter.
that's pipe fitter.
Yeah. They bend stuff. They bend
Judy,
metal.
you know what? No, that's driving me nuts.
Judy's maiden name.
Judy's maiden name.
Yeah,
She was a wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful person.
she really was.
Pretty gal.
Died too early with cancer.
So You've got her folks' names there, don't you?
What's
Yeah.
the last,
What's that?
what's the last name of her parents sitting down there? Do you have a last name?
Now, let me just read what she's got here. Front row, Shauna says, front row, Ruth Randolph, Eugene
Randolph.
Randolph,
Judy Randolph.
Marcella Bean,
Mhm.
back row, Judy Randolph Bean, William R. Bean, and William L. Bean.
Mhm.
Now you're
Well,
saying
it's
that's
good to have
Ron, that's Ron in the middle?
Mhm. William,
Well, Ron, yeah, but
yeah,
he didn't,
William R.
I don't remember his glasses like that.
Yeah,
She says, I think I'm in this picture somewhere, but if she is, she would be in
she's in that picture.
They had two girls, didn't they have two girls?
She's in a maternity
she's
outfit.
in the,
Yeah. Did they have two girls?
Yeah, Tricia. Shauna and Tricia.
And Tricia's blonde like her mother.
Yes, she is. And Shauna took a lot from Judy, but she also had the dark
Right, a little bit of bean.
from the Beans.
Mhm.
Wonderful, wonderful folks. That's a great picture.
That is a great picture. She'll want a copy of that. Both the girls will want a copy of that, Dave.
yeah, well, they're, oops. They're commenting online.
Yeah, I bet.
Shauna was in my class.
Shauna played basketball for me.
Hey. See how you do on this one.
Well, it's a dessert table.
I see raspberry, blueberry, an apple and custard pie and a pumpkin.
Is that pumpkin
Oh.
over there on the right?
Yeah.
You know what fools you about these young ladies are the hairstyles and the color of the hair today, if we know them.
Yes. I think if you gave initials, we'd get them all.
Well, SS perhaps, second from left.
SS.
Well, no, Joy Faye says it's MJS. Same last name, different first name.
Mary Jo S.
Mary Jo Siebens.
Okay.
I'll be darned, that's Mrs. Siebens.
Yeah, it's Alan's mother.
And Greg.
Rick
Mhm.
Reinhardt says, guessing this was one of the pork chop dinners put on by the 4-H.
There you
Oh,
go.
that'd be it. Anybody else? Any initials?
Janice Moody says, Grandma Barb, second from right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
See, I knew her with white hair.
You sure? Yeah. You just, that's the most recent.
Yeah.
Marcy Shoemaker asked Susie Oakes, your mama on the left, question mark. Second from right, Mrs. Moody, Kathy Moody, Chaplin's mother.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
Now, some of these coming up are not Tuscola people, but they're taken in the Tuscola gym.
That's Cumberland Pirates. That's what those people were down south.
Yeah, I didn't
The only
include all
time we
the,
played them's in the regional, or they came to
My
Tuscola.
freshman or sophomore year, we played them down at Cumberland.
Really?
I had guy's name was Patchett. And I think I was a freshman that year. And I think I hit 3 jumpers from the corner. And on the 4th jumper, he grabbed my pants and I went up and he pulled my pants down, exposing my jock strap.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember I came down really mad at him and I yelled at him and he grinned and he's missing 2 teeth here. And I burst out laughing. Guy named Patchett. They were different down there.
Yeah.
It's like they had to pipe air to them.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
That's when Friday
Fortney-
nights were big.
And Fortney hit that cheerleader head on. She was gone. That looks like a regional game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That was called the half backflip. She didn't make it.
Doesn't look like she's gonna make it, but maybe she's on the return side.
No, that's not good right there. Oh, they're at the Cumberland Pirates.
Yeah, those cheerleaders.
I think we should all up, but I can't remember who they are.
Cute girls.
Yeah, Cumberland Pirates. See if we see whose fans those are.
Packed in, aren't they?
I'm waiting for my Facebook to reset. Yeah, I don't know if you'd recognize anyone in the crowd or not.
Don't look like Tuscola people.
Probably not.
Oh, here we go. Villa Grove.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, there's
We can
Coach
name,
Harden.
we can name almost all of them.
Yep.
Down bottom left to right is Brown, Gary Brown,
Gary Brown,
Mittstoffer in the middle,
Larry
Larry
Sigler,
Sigler, and Chuck Smith on the
Smith.
right,
Coach Harden,
and Coach Gear on the left.
Coach Gears on the left.
Standing up. Second one is, go ahead.
Well, second one standing up, number 52. That's Big John McGrath.
Big Johnny McGrath.
Behind him's Charles Hardiman,
And that's Harvey.
Jerry Harvey, Bob Gears
Bobby Gear.
standing behind. And then I don't know. I remember the manager. I remember that boy. And this is Montgomery. That's Alan Montgomery.
Alan Montgomery.
Retired from teaching and went to cross country trucking. He'd had enough of the classroom, went to see the United States. And they won the regional.
I wonder how they did that.
I wonder how
I
in the
just talked to
world that
Larry.
happened.
I just talked to Larry about 2 weeks ago. They moved down to Charleston, and he married Joyce Koss. She had been married to Whitfield, wasn't it? Whitfield
Bill Whitfield.
played ball for ABL,
Yeah.
got killed on the train wreck.
Yeah.
And they lived down in Charleston. And I asked him why they moved to Charleston, and he said he was sick of farming. And Joyce goes, and guess what he does now? He farms,
He farms.
helps farmers. He's driving a little Corvette, healthy as made me mad. He doesn't have a health problem. All of his joints are still no knee or hip. Great guy.
Mhm.
Larry Sigler's top notch. Those were good athletes. They never cared much about basketball until the regional. We'd played them Friday night. We made a real blunder. Yeah, I think
Let's
we
not
played
even
them Friday
talk about
night. They beat us Monday in the regional, big upset. But we played them Saturday. We played Paris with Drew Johnson. But Friday we played Villa Grove. They ran us. We beat them 115 to 90.
it. Oh, I don't know. It was a bunch.
And then they came back and held the ball on us, and we were pretty big and slow. And they got the lead, and we had to start fouling them. They went to four corners, remember?
Yeah.
Poor Rick Gibson and Don. We were not four corner guys.
No. The kid standing up in the back, the two boys standing in the back, one's Don Snyder, I believe, and the other one's Matt Morey.
Matt Morey and Don Snyder. You're right.
Tuscola boys.
See, I
That
thought
was-
about not using this picture because it's Villa Grove, but I figured you guys would.
Oh,
notice it.
no, they played a great game.
That trophy is in the trophy case at Villa Grove, and they call them the Cinderella team for one thing. They
Yeah.
beat us.
They beat Tuscola. We had won 23 games in a row when they beat us, I think, 22.
22.
It was a huge upset, but
Their coach was smarter than our coach.
their coach is smart, our coach. But I tell people, they really were great athletes.
Oh, man, those guys were tough.
They were
John McGrath was a high point man that night.
Yeah.
Big John.
Yeah, Jerry Harvey was quick. Now here we go. Is that?
Oh, gosh. Now, that guy on the right was the head of the Farm Bureau.
We should know the gal.
Should, but I can't name her.
I don't have any names on this one.
Oh boy.
There's another one of those. I don't have names for.
That's the Hugo Methodist Choir.
Yeah.
And that's where they buried the 65 team after Villa Grove beat us. They lined us up, shot us, and dug a big trench.
We got several people with cameras there. It's been a big event. Looks like a roll flex.
It was a large burial.
Is that Carl Quinn's brother?
Yep.
What was his name? Carl Quinn had a brother.
Oh, he ended up being a custodian at the high school.
Yeah. Pete Quinn had 2 boys.
That's Carl's brother. I
Yeah.
can't. Don't you have a name on this?
No, I didn't have any names on this.
I thought he shot for the paper for a while. Carl was postmaster, but Carl also was not a big guy, but he was ferocious in football, and he was part of the 1953 Okaw title, and he and 4 others were Champaign News Gazette all area. I think I can name them: Junior Decker, Larry Little, Carl Quinn, Tommy Atwell, and I think Phil Flanagan, one of the Flanagans. Andy, Phil, Willie. So damn many Flanagans. Yeah, that's where they buried the 65 team.
Got some good basketball players in that Quinn family.
Yes. Grandsons.
Grandsons of Carl's.
Yeah. Carl was a good footballer.
Saw Kevin last night.
Wonderful guy.
Nice guy, pipe smoker.
Yeah. Assistant postmaster and postmaster.
That's beautiful winter shot there. That looks like that down on Overton.
Jericho. Is that the Mulligan house on the corner and then the next?
That could be the Mulligan
Whose
house.
house are you thinking?
I was thinking that was down near on Pinson, or the down near Pinson and Corridor Center.
Mm-hmm.
Got a name on it?
Well, we got a little debate going online as to whether this house is on Egyptian Trail south of John Best's house, or if it's Megan
That's where-
Price says it might be her house. Used to be a front.
That used to be where the Reynolds used to live, just south of the Carnine house.
On the
and
west
John Best.
side.
Yeah, John Best, but I don't remember that big porch.
That's where the McGee boy lives now, I think.
What was the other location you had?
Well, we had Egyptian Trail, and then doesn't say location, but says ask Megan Price if that's her house, and she says it could be. It used to be a front porch and a porch in the back. I can't tell if that building right next to it is a house. This house used to have more outbuildings than we do now. So I don't know if that's the same house they're talking about. But yeah, it does look like another house back here on the.
That doesn't look, that's an older house back there. That's not something.
Well, it looks like 2 different houses here behind the big house.
There are 2 different houses.
I'm
there.
thinking Bill might be right. That looks like Mulligan's house and the one next to it. That could be on Carico railroad track, but I don't. What'd they do with that? Is that house still there?
Kind of cattywampus from the ironing board factory, from Kelsey's warehouse.
Texaco.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Texas.
it's directly down from that. Yeah, from
Well, that's kind of a
Kingray's store.
kind of a
Yeah.
unique tree there with the bark the way it is.
Yeah, they replanted that from Tunisia when they went
Yeah.
down summer vacation to Tunisia. Well, that's the future home of the Emmanuel Lutheran Church.
Yeah,
Gosh, Mike, you're amazing.
I know. I don't know where it comes from. Third from right is Larry Cursine, it looks like.
looks
Lee-
like
fourth one is Lee
Charles
Allen.
Crowder to me.
Well, maybe.
It might be Christine. I
I don't know if he went to Lutheran. Fourth one is that Lee Allison, the fourth one?
Well, he's a Christian.
Well, you're right.
Lee Allison went
Oh, this is,
to Christian church.
oh,
I can't help you,
the guy
buddy.
with a shovel.
I
Tim
can't.
Holt says Pastor Heerly, second from left, then Art Christine, Floyd Ron on right end.
Floyd Ron, that's Floyd Ron, yeah. I lived a couple houses away from
Sue
Floyd.
Ellen Christine's dad.
That could be Larry.
I guess. Boy, nothing behind it. Isn't that neat? You're
Yeah,
looking north.
You look
There's-
at where that church is now and it's like,
Mhm.
looks a lot different.
Sure does.
Floyd was the top, Floyd and Ortholine, his wife, they had two kids, Willa Mae and Wendy. Wendy played on the 1960 Oak championship team with, he was the other end with Carl Court, Tommy Mercer, Floyd Anderson, fullback. Remember that team?
Yeah,
Red Edsweiler.
yeah.
They were some hombres. This is where they're doing the dance over the dead 65 team.
Yeah, it looks like that same.
There for the celebration.
Speaking of Larry Kersine, when I came back from the Army in 73, been gone for a couple of years, I saw Larry Kersine. I said, "Hi, Larry." He said, "You were on that team Biller Grove beat." I said, "You know, Larry, we won 23 in a row." He said, "How'd you guys let Biller Grove beat you?" Did I mention we won 23 games in a row?
We won the Paris All-Day Tournament. We were OCOD champs, won
That's
the
all.
OCOD tournament.
That's all I remember. That's a beautiful snow day.
There you go.
Looks like 57 Chrysler or DeSoto. What is that right there?
What's playing at the movie? We might have been there.
Zero in. There's firsties.
George Hamilton.
George
Oh,
Hamilton.
he played
Your
William.
cheating heart. He played Hank Williams
Hank
Jr.
Williams.
Or Hank Williams, not Hank Williams Jr. Look at the storefronts, how many
What is this?
places.
This is a Chrysler Dodge DeSoto right here on the left. 57.
DeSoto, maybe.
DeSoto.
Weird looking car.
They were all little.
See, you had Firsties, you had Ward's, you had the theater. Connor's in there someplace. Ward.
Maytag.
God.
There's Wendy Warner, Winkler.
Winkler. You know what? That's a neat picture.
This is
We
60
didn't have the equipment to move snow like we do now.
And yeah, the
It's,
cloud come around in 1987.
it's,
What was
it's a
this?
good picture of the Strand. I don't think I've seen this picture of the Strand before.
This is
It's a good
65.
picture.
This is 65, isn't it?
Yeah. So you got Flesser's over here,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see, at that point it was stuccoed and had this, I think that was a green metal.
It was great.
Aluminum foil or vinyl siding or aluminum siding. Everybody wanted to go. There was a time there in the 60s and 70s. Everybody wanted to be like Champagne and modernize their look.
So they.
And now we realize actually the big draw for everybody is to go back to the way it looked at the turn of the century,
Mhm.
1900.
Mhm.
Well, and this stucco on this brick probably contributed to the
Deterioration.
the problems that they had because it traps moisture.
Look how many more windows.
Well, these are really
How
cheap
about the
things,
snow
too.
in the middle?
Yeah. Those Brinkley boys were smart.
And got the elevator there in the back. Just kind of a neat picture.
Used to, that's where T&B used to be. There's the Hotel Douglas, and there's on the right is the way down into the basement.
Yeah,
The
that's
Douglas-
why you go down into
The Douglas Cafe
the Douglas
had about a
Cafe.
7-foot ceiling, dark gray concrete walls.
Harry Little.
Yeah, Harry Little, you thought you were eating down and you were expecting rats to run out any second, but the food was good.
That's right. So they piled the snow in the middle of Main Street. Too,
Yeah.
going that way,
They're
north and
smart.
south.
Bill McCarty started out there. That was his bank, and he
Mhm.
built it up from nothing into quite a bank.
That's back when it was really cold in the winters, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not cold anymore.
Nope.
Global warming. I just can't. It's not a good picture.
No.
Well, we got some names on it.
Well, good. If
Really?
someone- Carolyn Leitz.
It's probably the
Is that Carolyn Hilligoss? Carolyn Leitz.
Rudy Huber says that's Wayne Neal blowing his nose.
Well, I can't tell from here. That does look like Shirley. Is that Shirley?
well, I mean, she's got dark hair.
Tamara Hayes says, I don't think Dad had that much hair.
No, I'm not sure that was Wayne.
So Rudy says, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Danny Matthews says on the left, of pick Claude and Jane Stiles, with Timothy Stiles holding Heather Ainsley Miller.
The Stiles is from Atwood.
I don't know.
So there's what I had on that.
Well, that guy, Mr. Yost on the left,
Yep. Mike Yost,
used to be
dad.
head of the Grand Wigwam of the
Melvin Yost.
Melvin Yost, used to be Grand Poobah of the
Masonic Lodge.
Masonic Lodge.
Is that Helen Ziegler back there?
I don't know. She was Eastern Star.
We should know this person.
I
In
know.
fact, if somebody's, you probably got a name on this lady standing there.
Who's holding the purse? Got any initials?
I don't have any names on this one.
Melvin Yost. Saw his picture all the time. Oh, boy.
Big,
There's another good old winter shot.
yeah, boy.
And you notice they've cut all the meters off because people bitched about the parking meters.
Mhm.
I wish they'd have restored
That depot.
that depot. That was a great depot.
This is right in front of the Journal. So Phil took this picture. It's a
Yeah.
good picture.
You see two depots in this picture.
Yes, you do. You
Mhm.
see across the way.
Yeah.
One's the B&O and one's the CX,
CE&I.
CE&I. I always thought this was the BO right here, but maybe not.
I forgot. Wonderful picture.
Back when it snowed,
I was outside
Pretty-
shooting baskets.
what is that there, Bill? A 59 Chevy?
Yes, it should be station wagon.
Pretty nice depot, built out of brick.
Oh, yeah, I wish they would have saved it. That would have been a long time ago. I thought if they'd restore that, that could be two things. Number one, you could have restrooms in there for public restrooms at one end. And the other thing is you could have a railroad museum. You could have taken the gears out of the TY Tower and put them in there and have photos of the history of the railroad in Tuscola. Nobody seemed to agree with that.
Another shot, same deal, just a little different angle.
I think Lena Summers and I were the only two that wanted to restore that. Nobody else. You know, at the time we said you ought to restore you ought to save the TY Tower, take it apart piece by piece and rebuild it on the community parking lot. People said, well, that's an old building. I said, most historic buildings
Are old.
Yeah, depots had a certain architecture to them
Yeah, it was Art Deco.
with those gables.
Yeah, that's the old arts and crafts kind of look. Those.
In the very background there, you can see where the Kelsey's
Right.
warehouse is now.
The rounded armory kind of roof.
Mm-hmm. And that was the armory, I
Mhm.
think. That
Mhm.
was where
Think-
the,
I think part of the idea behind the architecture was to have big overhangs for people waiting for the, if it's raining out, you're waiting on a train, and you don't want to be inside, you want to be ready for that. Hop on the train or meet your people getting off the train.
Well, that's on Park Street.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And the house is still there,
That's still there, and it's just north of where.
Kidwell. Or no,
No, it's north of where.
it's south of, or it's north of the Wardell house where David lived, right?
I thought it was.
Kidwell's?
No, I thought it was north of where. My old
Oh, your
secretary.
secretary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Dorothy
Yeah.
Keeler thinks it looks like the house just north of the Irvin house too. That's where Glenn and Margaret Weaver lived. You don't think it's that house, Mike?
Well, I had it back. No, because what's the.
No, Cruzanne's
It-
house is in there in between. Lucas, Becky,
Yeah.
south of Becky's, no,
You don't
it's north of Becky's, but
But more than one house.
there's more than one house, yeah.
Well, zero in on the street sign there. That's
I was
Park.
gonna say, we know it's Park Street. We can't really read the other one.
Well, it runs right by you,
Newkirk.
probably.
There's Melvin Yost again. Is that Teresa Winkler. Third from right, third from left. Teresa Little.
Well, kind of looks like her, but I don't think she would have been involved in this. Then again, what do I know?
Well, that's Hugo again.
Hmm. Don't get your hair caught in a
I was gonna
fan.
say it.
That's a heck of a fan.
That's like Chuck Durrell walking Wesley Gould back into the fan blade. Bam, 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 bam.
I don't know who the ladies are, but it's interesting characters, it looks like.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, that looks like, is that Denny Stewart's mom right there?
Georgia Stewart.
Wasn't she an Eastern Star? Third one from the left, Georgia Stewart.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's Eastern Star or not.
I don't have any names.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one.
I thought I'd get some names on this one, but I haven't gotten any.
Oaks or Ron?
Looks like somebody's anniversary or something. They're all dressed up and they looks like they got a cake back here.
You think, suppose this is Florent Oaks' grand?
I was wondering about Oaks. Oaks or Ron? I don't know who about this one here.
Oh, man. I have no idea.
I don't have any names on that one either.
Basement of the church.
At Hugo. They've been married 50 happy years.
And they're smiling. Well, she's smiling.
Well, she's smiling.
She's trying to smile.
Yeah.
He's given up. He lost his smile 32 years ago.
Boy, they make a big deal. They used to make a lot out
They
of that
did.
50th
They
anniversary.
did. Nobody wants them anymore. Did you have a 50 one yet?
No,
You don't want one? You didn't want
I'm
one?
way past it.
I know, but did you want one?
I didn't think about it unless, were
I
they
was
going to
not-
have cake?
I was gonna throw a party and you didn't want it.
I didn't.
No,
Could it just been for the two of us? We could have.
it was you and I.
Oh.
Well, Facebook keeps messing up on my pictures here. But I think this is the picture that where Tisha Henshaw says that's my great grandmother's shawl.
Okay, Shaw's, then that would be related to, they lived southeast of Tuscola. And I thought she was related to the Littles. Who sent that in?
Tisha Henshaw.
Oh, well, Tisha, that's
Tisha
Tisha
Little.
Little. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, there's Mrs. Upper right is Mrs. Flume, Walt Flume's wife, and I can't think of her first name.
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn had one son, Eric, class of 64, great halfback and runner, had the school record for the 100-yard dash for a while. We should know the one next to Gwendolyn.
We should. The one in front of her, is that Virginia Gobble?
Could be Virginia Gobble.
The one next to Mrs. Flume, we should know.
We know her.
Mhm.
Well, if that's Gobble, I'm usually Cheryl usually looks over the pictures. Susan Betzold says my mom Dorothy Betzold, front row far left.
Bill Betzel's wife. That Betzel boy went to the Air Force Academy, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
We had a similar picture to this some time ago, but this is a different
This is
name.
Wardell.
That's a 50.
Yep, that's Pearl Wardall.
Wardell,
Wardell.
53, 54 Ford, and that's the garage is still there, I think, isn't it? Yeah,
Mhm.
And look at that hubcap.
that's chrome.
But I'm trying to figure out what this little part on the top of the roof is. Is that a birdhouse on a stand, maybe?
Their side.
On the other side.
Yeah.
She had marlin houses there, I think.
That could be.
Everybody liked marlin houses because they swooped around, ate the mosquitoes. You don't see them anymore. You don't see marlins anymore, do you? Where'd they all go? Mexico?
Martins are the
Oh,
kind,
purple martins.
purple martins. I've seen those.
What'd I say? Marlins?
Marlins.
Those are great big fish. Fish in the ocean. The fish never get up there, would they? Purple martins. I'm sorry about
Were
that.
you in Ambro when the came up and grabbed my hook?
So this is the house where I lived for 3 years as caretaker.
Who'd you do it for?
Her
Dick?
nephew, Sam Hill, who lived in Connecticut.
Oh, boy.
She was a daughter. This Pearl was a daughter of Sam Irvin, who bought the house in 1883.
I do remember purple martin or
Yes.
marlins. Some people call them marlins. Do
Yeah,
you remember all those houses they had out there?
right. I remember them. And they were in the side yard on
Do
the,
you want to just mess with social media for a while?
I did. I just decided I'd look at that for a minute, see if we had any comments.
Oh, look,
We don't have any comments.
I guess Marie Holland and Joe Holland. Marie Holland on the right,
Oh, yeah.
Joe Holland on the left. Did they have a sibling?
Well, they must have. What's the headline say? They're reading the Tuscola Journal.
This is 1958. They just moved here for USI. And Marie was my class, beautiful girl. Lives down in Texas. I think she's going through some, according to the website, she's got some cancer they're working on. Cute as a button. Joe was a nice kid.
Mhm.
And if they had a sister, a third one, I don't know who it was.
I don't know.
Well, Maureen Deaver says Marie Holland and brother Joe, sister Claire ?
Don't know.
Let's see. Jim Irwin says there was another sister my age, Cecilia. However, I don't think that is definitely not her in the picture. I don't think that is definitely got a double negative there. She had darker hair similar to Marie's.
They lived a two-story house. It was two houses east of the Kahneman house, one house east of where Scotty Day lives, where Dr. Cross used to live.
Mhm. Unusual looking house,
Yeah,
kind of Abraham Lincolnish or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
I dated a Marine.
You dated Maureen Deaver?
No, I did.
Oh, Marie.
Marie,
Holland. You
Marie.
took her out once?
Yeah, once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
I don't know why I broke up. Why did I break up everybody after one date?
they just didn't meet up to your standards.
I've always liked Marie. She's just a great gal.
She come back for a reunion?
She comes back for some of them, but she's coming up from Texas.
We should know this girl with the microphone, shouldn't we?
Well, I don't know if this
I
is
would think
50.
so, yeah.
What year is it? Tell us that.
Well, I think this is one of those. Well, what year was the high school bill?
58, 59?
Well, this is in the high school. You
This was
can,
in the high school, and these pictures, like I said, are either 65 or 58.
Well, that was a senior back in 58, 59.
this was 58. Who is it?
Corey and Linda Stark. That's Joyce Bozarth.
Oh, the oldest Bozarth. Joyce and Nita, John,
John David.
David.
So it'd be her nephew who's the principal there now.
That's right.
That's correct. Who are the teachers then? Let me see here.
Are these all teachers? So
Well, I don't know, is that Miss France?
I don't know. They're
standing
getting
up?
ready to give her some flowers, aren't they?
Yeah, she,
Or did she give flowers to this retiring teacher?
Bertha Flack or Miss France.
We need a 58
I've got a 59.
yearbook.
I got a 59,
Mhm.
60. I should just bring all my yearbooks in here. So when we do something like this, I can open them up.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, there they are again. Well, it looks like Larry Little up in
That's
the upper
Larry
right.
up at top.
And that's,
This is Gary Little on the far left.
is that Mark Toomey on the right? Who in the world?
No, it's not Mark.
Gary Little on the left, the hurdler, Larry. Larry graduated in 53, 4, 5.
Larry was in my mom's class.
Was that 55? All area Champaign News Gazette, all area football player, good athlete. All of his boys were good athletes and his girls. All the littles were good athletes.
Gary was my junior high basketball and track coach.
Gary was the class
Mhm.
of 67, I think. Wasn't he?
Yeah,
Bill?
67.
Great hurdler, football
Great,
player.
great hurdler.
Had the record for a while.
A long time. But I don't know who the young man standing next to Larry is. Yeah, that's Larry and Gary's grandparents.
I used to walk beans for Larry. Let's see if I got any more comments on here.
That's what got me to law school, walking beans and detasseling.
Mm-hmm.
Tisha says my dad with his grandparents.
Tisha was a whale of a basketball player, wasn't she?
Oh, man. She was really good.
Dorothy Fuller says, I thought that looked familiar when we first started going there. It was Congregational Christian Church. Can't remember when the name changed. And Tim Hull says, basement of the United Church of Christ
Mm-hmm.
that his great grandfather built.
That's right on Pembroke.
And Broken Center. Or court. There's that teacher again. They've honored.
That's Janet Southern.
With the hat on, sitting down is my old 8th grade teacher, Janet Southern.
My 8th grade teacher, Janet Southern. And I'll bet sitting next to her is Lucille Decker, or no, Whitaker.
Whitaker,
Miss Whitaker.
the other art teacher.
Yeah.
That's either France or I wonder if that's Flack.
I don't know.
Who's standing on the left?
Well, is that Juanita Michener?
No.
No, but Alan says it's Doris Helm.
I'll be darned.
When's she coming on the show?
Yeah, Alan needs to be Alan and Taylor. Let's those guys try and carry an hour show.
Yeah.
Mitch will have to go take a cigarette break. He can't do it. Oh, there he is. Oil or water?
Has to be a Meister somewhere.
Well, it's got to be water. Did he drill for oil or just water?
I thought he drilled for
And
water.
He was a water guy. I thought he used to use the rod, didn't he? The diviner.
Mhm. Yeah. He was good.
Is that George
I don't know.
on the right?
Could be, kind of looks like George, doesn't it?
Looks like his dad. Yes.
It could be too. For some reason, Facebook keeps
And
some of my pictures are not rendering.
okay, now
That's on the South Ward School, taken across the road from the
Right.
South Ward.
that house is still there, and there's
Yeah.
where Bill lived. If you look at the White House on the right, Bill and Andrea enjoyed connubial bliss in their early married years up
Yeah,
there.
and
Stevens
there's
house.
a porch on the side then,
I
back
used to-
then.
I walked up there one winter and about died.
I fell down those stairs
Oh, you could
with
die.
a cup of coffee. It's a wonder it didn't kill myself.
And there is the little bitty Mr. Lee's barber shop. Before that, it was a candy shop for all
Yeah.
the kids. Guy made a fortune selling candy to all his kids. Those
I always thought that pine tree was planted on Arbor Day. It was a gift. The school kids planted that tree. And there
Yes,
was a
this-
plaque at the base of it. I
This one over
thought.
to the left, if you go back, that oak tree's still there. right there,
Hmm.
big oak.
Saw this picture bring back some memories for people.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's a good picture.
There's Dr. Lossman on the left, facing the camera in the left group.
Mhm.
And Doris Kearns on the right.
Now, isn't that Rick Marsh, or do we know?
I don't know.
Tim Hole says Claude Hawkins left and Dr. Lossman.
And that's
Possibly Claude.
looks like Mr. Mills, the back of Burl Mills.
I don't remember him being that big. This guy here looks awfully familiar.
He does.
Okay. Well, it's definitely Claude
There's
Hawkins.
Claude Hawkins. And the guy signing in. Not ready to say Jim Sherrick, but I'm not sure.
I was going to say Jim Sherrick.
Judge Sherrick, but I don't know.
Tim says Claude Hawkins black suit.
Right, black glasses. Okay, here we go, 1958 beauties. And we got to go find out who that teacher is real quick while you're talking to David. Let me get this up here. Okay,
So is that Galen?
I don't think so.
We got some names on this one.
Well, give us I think we get some of these girls if you give us some initials here.
Well, in the white sweater, LW.
Well, that helped a lot.
Yeah, that is. That's a Williams, I think.
Linda Wagner.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Tallest girl, you should know. Maiden name GG.
That's Grub.
Gayla Grubb.
Gayla
That's
Grubb.
what Bill said.
Cross. And let's see. Flanking the lady with the flowers on the left,
Jean,
BB.
Doris Blaney.
Betty Bartley.
Oh, Miss Bartley. Now this, we should know this. Who's got the second from the left? You got initials for her? That's the one we should know.
I got third from the left. Maiden name SC. Married name SS.
Third from the left, although that was Betty Bartley.
Well, I don't know if they're counting the person. This negative was at the end of the roll.
Oh, there's somebody else here. Okay.
Yeah, so there's somebody else there in the picture.
So maiden name is SS?
Yeah. No, maiden name SC, married name SS.
Oh, that's Sharon Swingle, Sharon Connor.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sarah Connor Swingle. And Chubb says far left is Sharon's best friend, RJK,
Well, we can't even,
Rita Joe Kleiss.
it doesn't come across on our screen. We don't get there on the left. That's this one.
Oops.
Go back a little bit. We see this one here. We got some kind of interference.
So who's the teacher?
Bertha Flack,
I don't
Miss
know.
Franz, Miss Franz. Well, I go get a yearbook before. As soon as David's done, while you talk, I'll grab a yearbook and we'll see who that is. We've seen a bunch of pictures of her. There we go. Scoop it up. They poured steps, David, all the way down from the community building. You know, there's steps at the community, all the way down to the main street to the bank. And everybody wanted parking and nobody liked the steps. So they tore the steps up. I mean, so now you park and step right up. It's angled down. They didn't like the job.
Got the Fullerton elevator there again.
And that's back in the days of the jackhammer. Well, they still have a jackhammer, I guess. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna find out that woman is. Will you say something?
I
Dave?
think you're probably right. Don't you,
Well, let me go.
Mrs. Flack?
Well, she was back in the 30s, though. I don't know. Bertha Black friends.
David, this was a great challenge today. I thought it was going to be kind of interesting as far as 65 and 58, we'd get them all, but some of these folks were out of towners.
Yeah, but the photo you guys did the best on was a group from Villa Grove.
That's true. That group is kind of etched in our memory forever. That was the big upset. That made the Chicago papers.
Huh.
It was a little psychological warfare. Beat them on Friday night, bad. Our egotistical coach, we scored a lot of points. Came back on Monday night. Saturday night, we went to Paris and got beat. We got upset. We'd won 22 games in a row. So we go to Paris and get upset. So we're kind of down from that Saturday night game and come back on Monday night. And man, those Villa Grove guys just ran the big guys into the ground. They never stopped. And they beat us. They upset us. And the Chicago paper talked about the upset because I think we were ranked about 12th in the state, somewhere in that neighborhood. And it was a one-class system back then. So we had a terrific team, terrific group of basketball players, and they beat us.
Well,
But that was a tough group of kids from Villa Grove.
I think Villa Grove, back when it was a one-class system, I think they won state championship one year, didn't they? Back in the
Basketball about 1922, something
I was
like
gonna
that.
say in the 20s.
Well,
Atwood did too.
Atwood won it with the Chin brothers. Bill, there's
I met one of the players from that Villa Grove state championship team.
here's what I think it is. That's Bertha
The
Flack.
80s.
I think that's Lois France that's retired.
Louise France, I think you're right.
That's Mrs. France.
Lucille Dickinson, Sue Brown.
This is 53. I couldn't
Yeah.
find my 55. Woolman, Guy Collins. There's Paul Gilpin.
Kenneth Rowe, basketball coach. Man, they said he was a heck of a coach.
Yeah.
Bob
Anyway, we
Brigham.
think that was Lois France, the teacher they're honoring. Johnny Morris. Virgil
School
Ross.
board.
Yeah, look at him. Frank DeBolt. That was Sandy's mom. Dad. Elmer Little Jr.
That's it. That's
Look at that.
Elmer.
Mrs. Lucille Burns was on the school board. Good for
Yeah.
her.
Dr. Lossman, Virgil Ross.
Yeah. Anyway, did we tell you we think that teacher that we kept seeing was Louise France?
Got it now.
You got it, David?
I got it. Wrote it down.
All those Villa Grove guys are still our good friends. I had in fact, almost everybody we played against is still our good friends.
Almost everyone.
Almost, even Arcola. I would say
Well, when we see them, they're
When we see 'em.
they're kind of old codgers, you know.
yeah, David, when I was elected judge in 2006, I only won by 81 votes. And I'm convinced that I won because of all the guys I played against.
Yeah.
And Arcola, Mark Petty worked, he was an Oakland football player, Dunnigan, Rothrock, Blackwell, Gardner, the Monahans, they all.
Yeah.
Hell, I won Arcola. That's unbelievable.
You won in Newman.
Villa Grove, Larry Sigler called me up, said he'd do whatever he could for him, put signs out for me. Newman, the Allen boys, the Allen brothers. and Chuck White.
He only lost in Tuscola.
I only lost in Tuscola where they knew me too damn well. And Atwood, Johnny Shable, a lot of guys. Arthur, Jan Ray, Neil Montgomery,
Yeah.
Terry Furchow, Willoughby. Remember, there's something about sports, isn't there? You just remember everybody.
Well, yeah. Active participant.
Yeah, somebody elbows you in the face, you remember them.
Yeah.
Great times. Oklahoma Conference was a wonderful. I feel a little bit sorry these guys and gals today have such a screwed up conference, in my opinion, that it's not all the towns around here where they can see each other all the time and develop really close friendships.
They don't have a Saturday night dance.
Yeah, I don't think the Tuscola guys or gals are close to the Unity guys or gals, or Iliopolis or
No.
Blue Mound or A&M. I don't even know where A&M is. You know,
Assumption Mowequa.
Assumption, Mowequa, and then you got to drive down, which road you turn on, 51, 48, 40,
Yeah.
I get
I
lost.
know.
I wander around, I wind up in the middle of Pana. Yeah, so that was too bad that they couldn't hold it together, the old Oklahoma Conference. I think most people who played then agree it was a nice thing.
So that was a 4-H
Pork
chop
barbecue.
barbecue. Wow.
I went to a couple of those when I was running for office. You'd go to everything you could. You'd go to everything you can, pie auction, and I went to the FFA and I bought a couple of Norma Ron's pies, and the bidding was high on Norma Ron's pies.
She was famous for pies.
I think I gave $200 or $300 for a
How much?
coconut cream pie.
Jeez.
Hey, I need votes.
Oh, that's true too.
That's a legal way to get votes.
That's, you mentioned how everyone voted for you, but Tuscola. It's funny how in your hometown, a lot of times it's, I don't know what it is, but
Well, the prophet's unknown in his own town. What's the Bible say? There's something about it. But I did tell you this story before. We as city attorney, we got the mall and the golf course and a few other projects. And I evidently was well known throughout the state. And I was hired by the town of Metropolis to go down and try and get them a golf course and a mall. And when I showed up down there, it was like, King David walking into they all thought, look at this guy. I said, well, go home and tell Missioner Taylor about this.
well, that's we used to say the definition of an expert is someone who lives out of town.
More than 60 miles away. Yeah.
There you go.
And I think probably there's a song, a cross Canadian ragweed song, says you're always 17 in your hometown.
Cross Canadian ragweed.
Ragweed, cross Canadian ragweed, Jason
You're
Bowman.
always 17 in your
In
hometown.
your hometown. You
Boy.
can go off and get a college degree and make something of yourself, and you come back to your hometown and they don't see what you've become. They remember what you were.
Yeah. Well, Virgil Luth told me one time, when I was a private attorney, after I was stationed, almost everyone on the county board was my client. Milas Thomas, Virgil Luth, Harold Hackett. All of them used me. Willoughby, except for my old classmate, Alan Mishner. So Virgil asked Alan one time, he says, we all use Carroll's attorney. Why don't you use him? He said, I remember him in high school. I remember when he was 17. Yeah.
So now I know why Jack Williams said, don't mess this up.
Don't mess this up.
That was just to come be a teacher.
Well, we were pretty crazy back then. We've matured since then. And we don't do stupid stuff like a podcast where we laugh all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's you're right. You get an image of somebody and
Kind of stays.
it kind of stays. But anyway, a lot of those, are we starting to forget people, or is it just hard to recognize from 58? I thought we get more people from 58. Hair color is a big deal, isn't it?
Hair
Hair?
color is a real big deal on women.
and men, whether they have it or not. I saw 2 or 3 pictures of Don Moody when he had a
Mhm.
full head of dark hair.
Uh,
Now I've always known him as gray
Yeah.
and white.
Yeah, you think.
And
of
his
it.
wife, I always knew her as white haired. So when they show her with dark hair, it just throws me off.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
heaven,
it
thank heavens, our hair has not changed.
Yeah, you've changed a lot. Bill hasn't changed much.
No, you think I've changed a lot?
Yeah, I think you've changed several times.
Yeah.
You used to be a lot. You used to be a lot heavier at one time.
Well, I
And
always got the most changed award at reunions, least hair and most changed. I always said if I could live long enough, everybody'd catch up. So
yeah,
it's good to be alive at 77, I'll tell you.
It's good to be alive.
In fact, isn't that weird to say 77?
Oh,
I'm
who told me that
77,
the other day?
and
Oh,
you're-
I know, Steve Hedinger.
And you're
Steve
76.
Hedinger's gonna be 76 here soon. And I said something about his birthday and he said, man, he said, he can't handle that. He said, I just can't
Yeah.
get that.
I've got a big one coming up.
You got the big 6-0. When is that?
Big 6-0 in December.
When's Duff Rooney turned 60?
Well, Duff's younger than I am, so I should know, but I don't.
Well,
60 sounds young.
people told us when we were younger, everybody said, just wait till you get old. And now that we're old, I look at these young kids and I say, just wait till you get old. I mean, you can't ever explain to anybody
No.
what it's like to see the doctor every week or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Go see the podiatrist one week, the dermatologist,
Oh, gee,
the cardiologist.
urologist.
They take blood every 2 weeks to see.
Boy, she made a hell of a mess out of that, didn't she?
She nicked the vein there.
This is not my regular gal. This was for another kind of test.
Well, for my leukemia, they keep taking this one, and now they say it's so scarred up, they got to go somewhere else.
And get going.
My class, our parents who are still living are between the ages of 80 and 90 for the most part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like looking at our futures.
Well, I think Bill and I still have a youthful attitude.
Is that what it's called?
Well, we can laugh.
Yeah, we do
We can
laugh.
You can either cry or laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to be alive.
I would give a lot just to have Aaron around and
I miss,
kind of balance things out.
I would say the worst thing about getting older is, be honest with you, are the people dying. I miss my mom and dad and sister, so my family. We miss our friends. Howard was a hoot.
Yeah.
Grimbo, just think of all the people who used to comment.
Fred.
I'd love to go do another thing with Fred, but that's still my favorite show of all time.
That was the best show ever, I think, David.
Yeah,
Well, we should do more of that, getting out.
but he's dead.
We took that, well, there are other people.
Well, but Fred was a town character, and how many town characters do we have left? I mean, seriously, everybody now is fairly serious.
You know what we ought to do? Because we could do this on my phone. We could go out to the cemetery and walk around the cemetery and look at the headstones and talk about the people who are buried
Gone.
there.
Well, we can just do it this way because I can take my computer out in Bill's truck because that's where we go there all the time. We can drive around and of course, David's not there, is he? David, you come with us in the truck with your phone.
You know, if you look at the picture of that high school in about 1958, the whole north side of the cemetery is not developed.
Yeah.
There's no graves there.
In my freshman year, Fortney and Gibson and I, there were about 5 of us freshmen got letters for football, basketball, whatever.
You got initiated.
The initiation was on the north side of the parking lot. From the north side where that road is on the parking lot, it's now cemetery. but all the way over to the first cemetery road was just a farm field
Mhm.
that they farmed. On my initiation, they went out and watered that mud, full of water and mud. They made us take a great big teaspoonful of Tabasco sauce and a raw egg and dive in and swim to the other side and come back. And if we couldn't spit it out, we had to do it again. I think Gibson dove in and swallowed immediately and he about died. So they're gagging. You know, initiation was, but I remember swimming that. I remember swimming from the edge of the parking lot over to and now that's where Becky and I have our plots, are right over
Mhm.
against the fence.
Mhm.
Probably right about where Gibson hit. But I think of all the people we miss. We talk about Greg Skinner all the time, just mentioned Rick Gibson,
Right.
Chuck Durnall.
Yeah,
We talk about, a lot of people we talk about are gone. And that's probably the saddest thing about getting older.
Mhm. Very much so.
Yep.
Very much so. So we'll try to make the best of it while we can.
Sure. Make a few memories of our own.
Yeah. Well, this is a memory. This
What?
this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Well, David, we're going to, because Bill and I really are fairly nostalgic, because we love Tuscola and Douglas County and all the towns we used to be in the Ocall, and we have so many friends. This is a blast. We think it's important. We hope young kids eventually find it as important as we find it.
Yeah.
Well, they're online forever now. So,
It's a treasure.
and we thank our sponsor, Elite Builders, this week.
I do thank them, and
Thank
it's a treasure. And David, once again, I give you unbelievable credit for doing this. You've been doing this for how long have you been doing this? Didn't you start remembering Tuscola?
Yeah.
With your sister?
Yeah.
Roberta? So this has been going on for what, 20, 30 years?
Well, probably 10 for the Remember
Dave.
Tuscola site.
Speaking of Roberta, and I think of Carroll and Cloyd too, who writes for you. I understand that in Arcola at the Broomcorn building that they're constructing presently, they're going to have part of the museum in there.
That's what the plan is.
That's swell.
Second
Good.
floor?
I don't.
Yep,
Second
to
floor.
provide the museum with a place for their displays.
Their artifacts.
So
Great.
is next week when we have to be on a different day?
Next week, we're going to do Wednesday.
Okay.
I've got a medical procedure Thursday. And so we'll do this Wednesday.
Can we go out and eat
I
after your procedure?
I actually wouldn't mind doing it during my procedure.
Yeah, that would be special.
I would be all in on that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the doctor would agree, but
Well, I'd be funny. They're going to give me that funny juice, I
I
think.
think I could sit there and eat while you watch the
You
procedure.
could give me a bite.
Yeah, give you something to eat.
The worst thing about most of these procedures is you can't eat for 12 hours or drink anything for
Oh,
12 hours.
geez.
Man, I can't imagine. I'll try and sleep 12 hours. I'll try and time my sleep to wake up when I have to have a procedure.
Mhm. Probably be a good deal.
That's the hardest part, isn't it?
That's not easy. David, good to see you.
Thanks
All
once
right.
again for all you do. And next week, try and get some 65 pictures that Bill and I know. We didn't do very well.
No,
this
we
week.
had some.
I'll see what I can do.
87%, but that's way below our 96% average.
He's right. The
All
one
right.
we got best was the little girl basketball.
Yeah, good guys.
All right. See you next week on Remembering Tuscola.
Bye.